Well, gosh, guys and girls on the Schwantz27 channel, it's the new community manager for Sledgehammer Games, Aaron Hallen, here to talk to you about the huge overhaul to Divisions that we just dropped with the patch for Call of Duty World War II. We're finally taking this game out of beta phase only 5 months after the game launched, since we've discarded Tweedledee and Tweedledum, Michelle and the Hammer, after they failed upwards. We've made sweeping alterations to the way the game is played, since Call of Duty players say they wanted to return to roots, but don't actually know what they want, since everyone hates the tactical gameplay and less player choice with the create a class system with the divisions. They really just wanted to play the same game that they played 6 years ago, copy-pasted with minimal upgrades or changes. Oh boy. The overarching theme to division changes is that we're making the divisions more suit different play styles versus different classes of weapons. We're making the SMG suppressor, rifle bayonet, shotgun incendiary shells, which were buffed by the way in capacity and range, along with the pistol tack knife. They are now attachments instead of being tied to certain divisions. The sniper sharpshooter and LMG bipod being always available for those weapons, while also being buffed for a longer duration in the former for holding breath, and better fire rate and ammo consumption in the latter. This means it opens up an extra slot for a division perk, and we've calculated all the different permutations for the basic different trainings in order to better balance the divisions to have the most similar mean point according to usage values within an acceptable standard deviation, so that this way people will now more use the slightly overpowered armored division and more spammy expeditionary division, because LMGs and shotguns are shit in our game and we wanted to remove weapon ties to the divisions. According to our calculations, the new division perks are the following. Infantry is now for people that like to use their gun to kill in a shooter game. What a novel concept, as it keeps the additional primary attachment and faster movement while ADS perks, but gets a second pistol attachment and faster weapon swap, along with less idle sway while aiming down sight. Airborne has the need for speed like a car franchise stuffed with micro DLC in a way that makes Activision jealous, as it keeps the increased mantle and sprint speed, but now has the ability to reload and fire weapons while sprinting and diving, rendering Gunslinger as useful as fallopian tubes on a lesbian. Not that I know what those are, because I don't know the female reproductive system at all. Armored now is for people that like to choose tanks in other loot box simulator games like Overwatch, as it keeps immunity to shell shock and tactical equipment, along with reduced enemy lethal grenade and fire damage, but now gets FMJ by default and will stack, but the most important is built-in primed with less flinch. More on that basic training later. Mountain is now for those players that like to sneak out of the house at night in order to play Dungeons and Dragons or split screen games, or work on a science project at a friend's house. Wait, the kids sneak out to hook up with other people? Well, I guess my childhood was quite different. Feel sad, man. Anyways, it retains the invisibility to recon and player-controlled score streaks, along with silent movement, but adds hidden enemy death locations and no name or reticle change when aimed at, thus rendering undercover as useful as a condom with a hole in it. Not that I know what that's used for other than masturbating into. Expeditionary is for Hawaiians that love spam, or people that just like to annoy with throwing out the explosives like rice at a wedding, which I guess I'll never go to my own because hashtag forever alone. Anyways, the McDouble, as Schwantz calls it, of tacticals and lethals, along with enhanced equipment throwing ability and scavenger, is retained, but now added is recon from Modern Warfare 3 is back for equipment painting enemies on the minimap, easier destruction of war buildables, and better tacticals, meaning more blast radius and longer duration of effects to really mix it up. Lastly, the Resistance Division is for gathering 411, retaining the minimap scrambler and indicator, but now also gets Sitrep Pro from Modern Warfare 3-esque enemy footstep noises being louder than all of the voices in my head, along with ping from Ghosts and the Lookout basic training that makes Operation Neptune easier than the campaign on the lowest difficulty. Since we've made the divisional weapon perks into attachments now, we're adding a third primary slot for all loadouts, as well as giving all players both a tactical and lethal piece of equipment when they spawn in. Thus, primed and bang are now removed from existence, since they no longer factor into the giant matrix of division skills and basic trainings. In order to reconfigure the baselines to account for having more equipment than a hockey team, lethal shell shock along with lethal and tactical damage or longevity has been nerfed across the board. In line with that thinking, we've also added the ability to select launchers as secondaries without the launch basic training, and now made them them less effective against infantry, so launch gives additional launcher ammo, so you can now use that hilarious rocket in your pocket joke. Dick jokes are always great. You can now also equip suppressors on pistols to go all James Bond 007 with half a range reduction compared to SMG suppressors, and in a surprise twist to people that thought that they were getting a Grenadier division by you fellow neckbeards doing some data mining, a rifle grenade aka noob tube is now a rifle attachment that is also shitty against infantry like the new launchers. This means that the perks that were supposed to be for that division are actually just new basic trainings called Blitzkrieg that turn score streaks into kill streaks, as well as having a fourth kill streak option, and buffing the streaks just in case camping for streaks wasn't enough of a problem before, as well as a new basic training called Clandestine, which will drop intel packs to give a ping-like radar effect to reveal enemy positions, and giving a recon ping at the start of each life. Far out, bro. Other vanilla basic trainings have been altered to further complicate the balance situation, like Forage, which now has extra magazines instead of swapping weapons faster. Ordnance will now drop packs from dead enemies to refill your score streak meter, and removing the re-rolling from care packages as part of those Blitzkrieg benefits. Concussed allows for 2 lethals and 2 tacticals of your choosing, and Energetic will now increase base speed instead of sprint again sooner because, surprise, we're introducing unlimited sprint to make the game more like an actual fun Call of Duty instead of one where your thumbs are killing you from constantly pressing in the sticks to re-sprint. In order to balance this change, we've reduced the global sprint rate by 0.1%, which basically means the map in this game are as small as my self-confidence, so you'll be getting into gunfights much faster than our spawns are a great 3 out of 1,000, and you won't ever be near any enemy players at the start. We basically upended the entire meta of the game, so all of you people that had those best class videos on YouTube will now actually have to make them again if you're not off playing Fortnite by now. Now that we've thrown more math at you than a calculus teacher, and because we're overachievers like those kids in AP classes in high school, we've also made a bunch of fixes that were minor bug fixes, except for the memory error fix in zombies, so now the people can actually play that portion of our game for people that like to run around in circles for hours on end. However, after being teased way back in late January, paint jobs are now finally live, so you can draw out your adolescent fantasies on your weapons instead of actually playing the game. And this patch coincides with the War Machine DLC, out live now on the PlayStation 4 because Activision is spelled with a $, and rumored by the Xbox UK Twitter to be coming out on May 10th, presumably on the Xbox and PC platforms. Oh, and since the PC version gets delayed on DLCs anyways, we've decided to delay the patch as well until next Tuesday, April 17th, which is also when we'll be introducing 4-player parties into ranked mode for Season 3. The rationale behind this is to combat those data miners who erroneously leaked our plans last time. Wait, what? We accidentally made live marksman challenges for yet-to-be-released weapons named Sterling, Type 5, Type 38, M2 Carbine, and ITRA Burst, which also happens to include some of those weapons that were leaked way back in the middle of November. Well, shit, I guess maybe now we don't have a reason to delay PC other than to calm down those hashtag PC Master Raiders a bit. Where's my fidget spinner? I gotta think this one through a little bit more.